Alright, now this is episode 3 of the TEMPL of Ra podcast, and in this episode we'll be addressing the restoration of the body-mind from all disorder and disease. The main contents of this presentation will be readings from the Verde book by El Camino, El Reyes Micael, who we can just call El. In episode 2, we addressed some of the fundamental issues that we as humanity are currently facing, as well as providing solutions for these. So to reiterate as we continue on with our study and growth, with little knowing arrives great calamity. With great knowing arrives a dynamic, all-encompassing equanimity. Now, could it possibly be that the calamity of the ever-increasing and forecasted to increase by all medical and health establishments mainstream across the earth, the increasing sickness, disorder and diseases of humans, what a calamity. Now, could it be that this calamity is a result of us having such little knowing of ourselves and what's necessary to maintain health? Could this calamity be as a result of us having such little knowing of the true and real context surrounding us that we call society and civilization today? And because we don't know the reality of it from its core, we're unable to provide the solutions that would see us living healthier, stronger, and just overall collectively more fulfilling lives. A question. Now, as always, in the provision of solutions, we must bring everything to its most simple root, its simple beginnings. From here, we can retrace our steps, so to speak, and then begin to take the correct steps where previously we have veered off track. So here we continue with our reading from the Verde book. May we all take a moment firstly to acknowledge the reality that the breath, our breathing, is the foundation of our living upon earth in our human bodies. And without it, there would be no life. Okay. All humans are born breathing into the diaphragm, utilizing the full capacity of their lungs. This physiological mechanism is the foundation of all activity-dependent development that comes about within the body of the human baby from birth. However, due to the civilly engineered structure of society, the enforced mode of living, and the technology used as a part of that daily civilly engineered living, frequent experience of stressors begin making an impact upon the developing body and mind of the human baby, beginning from birth and in a growing number of cases during gestation. Postnatal, the accumulating effect of stressors lead to, firstly, the breathing pattern changing from being into the diaphragm to that of being into the chest. The effective and effective secondary consequences that arise from the different breathing methods of diaphragm versus chest are not to be underestimated. They are the singular underlying reason or cause for every physical and or mental dysfunction that is not attributed to the chemical warfare program as applied to the increasing pollution of air, food production, and in vitro manipulation of human genetics, leading to all babies born with congenital and autistic disorders. So hold up, you're telling me that all disorders and diseases that arise in the body and mind come from us not breathing correctly, except from where the current authorities of the world are poisoning us intentionally. Hey, that's what the man said, and there's nothing in this book that he does not prove irrefutably in this book with evidence to back it up. Let us continue. The reason for the change of the primary pattern of breathing being so important, all else discounted, is due to the following. Point 1. To begin, ponder, contemplate upon the state of your body if it had never received a full plate of food for the duration of your life. Point 2. Now, do the same thing for if the body had never received a full plate of oxygen for the duration of your life. Let us bear in mind that oxygen is more fundamental to our living than the physical matter that we consume daily. In the first scenario, it is easy for most to envisage the nature of the body if it had never received enough sustenance. However, in the second, it is not so easy, and for this reason, do humans not give their in-the-moment breathing patterns enough effortful and ongoing attentions. Apply the scenarios above, again, now taking the above additional facts into account. Breathing into the chest supplies only up to a maximum of 30% of the possible oxygen intake of the lungs, whereas breathing into the diaphragm supplies up to the natural maximum of 100% oxygen intake upon every breath, due to the expansion of the lungs down into the enteric region of the body, causing the stomach to expand as inner organs are compressed. As before, not accounting for anything else, the ability of the body to maintain a healthy state obviously becomes impaired upon breathing into the chest and reducing oxygen levels to a maximum of 30%. Now, account for the frequent and increasing levels of stress that the body and mind are experiencing as a consequence of daily, civilly engineered modes of living. Some of those daily, civilly engineered modes of living, again, the chemical warfare program as applied to the increasing pollution of air, food production, and the manipulation of human genetics from within the womb, not to mention the technologies that we utilize and all of the frequencies that are traveling through our airwaves and our bodies on a moment-to-moment basis, 24/7, and more. So again, returning to the simple root, to simple beginnings for the reasons of our problems, some of the problems, most of the problems we're facing as humanity, and then the ability to begin to bring ourselves back on track from the simplicity of our deviation or misalignment. We can acknowledge that the misuse of our breath, our breathing, just from these few simple pages read, is at the foundation of our ills and ailments, particularly given the environments that we're currently living in and experiencing life within that are unnatural and engineered to be this way for the purpose, let me say, intentionally created and made to be this way for the purpose of producing illness and disorders and disease in the human body mind. What a calamity arising from the little knowing that humanity currently have regarding themselves as body, mind, and soul, and the situation, context within which we find our lives being lived in these artificially contrived civil and social environments that do nothing but bring us stress and strife. And certainly they do nothing but bring us stress and strife in comparison to the natural, abundant, bountiful, beautiful environments across the whole earth that nature provides freely, that remain beautiful and bountiful, abundant, and a blessing to us, a gift to us as humanity, until mankind come along with their human compatriots and destroy it to produce these artificial, civilly and socially contrived environments for our demise. We can count ourselves very fortunate for the fact that Elle has produced the Verde book and subsequently the Violet book, providing us with all of the information we need to develop our faculties of mind and being, our health of body, mind, and our understanding of ourselves, our understanding of ourselves, our overstanding of ourselves, to then become understanding, understanding, and overstanding of the context of the societies and civilizations we currently find surrounding us in a prison state-like manner, an open prison. With this great knowing, can we develop an all-encompassing dynamic equanimity and progress on for a brighter tomorrow, for the generations to come, and for us today. Okay, so additionally to the correction of our breathing from the chest into the diaphragm and our ongoing attentions to this to sustain a optimal state of health and being in our body, we have the food we intake, the sustenance we take and bring into our bodies, that of course produce a chemically balanced homeostasis for us to then again have a basis for great health. Here we jump forward to read from a chapter of the Verde book on the homeostatic nature of the body and continue. Continuing, we now take a further look into homeostatic management and the role it may play in the arising or non-arising of addiction, disorder, and disease in providing appropriate responses to the opening inquiries. Okay, so here we have a diagram that depicts the homeostatic nature of the human body-mind, what it looks like to be within the range of homeostasis, and what it looks like to be outside of that range. Now, when we are within the maxima normal and the minima normal range, we're in a state of homeostasis where the body is finding and maintaining a necessary balance within itself to function optimally with no disorder and disease. As soon as we go above the maxima normal or below the minima normal, we enter either a state of mania or a state of depression. Now, if we remain in a state of mania above the maxima normal or depression below the minima normal, this is where disorders and diseases begin to develop within the body-mind. Now, the further outside of the maxima and minima range we travel, the more developed the disorders and diseases become. So, in the restoring of our body-mind from any and all disorder and disease, the key is to return the body-mind to a state of homeostasis within the maxima and minima normal ranges. Now, what is required to do so will be different according to what the specific ailment is and how far it has advanced in the body-mind. Yet the concept, as depicted here in this simple diagram, is very simple and easy to grasp for anyone seeing. Now here we continue our reading from the Verde book. With regards to a disorder or disease in the body-mind, point 1. It is preemptive. In this example, it can be observed through inference that it provides the duration required for food to be ingested and digested at a minimum to restore or maintain homeostatic balance via maintaining a smooth, stable supply of serotonin. Point 2. The longer a corrective action takes to be applied, the greater the subsequent signals sent to the body and or mind, as the imbalance tends to increase the longer it is left unattended. Point 3. The greater the imbalance, the greater the agitation of the signal perceived in order to spur corrective action. Point 4. As a direct result of point 2 and or 3, there is more of a corrective action required for balance to be restored, i.e. a greater possibility of a corrective action not meeting the need for restoration of homeostatic balance and the unmet need leading to the generation of an addiction, disorder, or disease. With the correct restorative actions taken daily on a consistent and ongoing basis, any body-mind system can naturally be brought forward to its homeostasis and a state of health and balance. Utilizing this great knowing, the author of the Verde book, L, has naturally restored patients from all disorders and diseases ranging from Alzheimer's to schizophrenia, from diabetes to lupus, from sickle cell to autism, and more. All of this great knowing has been imparted into the Verde book, which is available to purchase now. Links in the description. In the description also you will find links to the preliminary breathing practice that will begin to re-establish the body-mind connections necessary for mind-soul connectivity and the restoration of the complete nature of the human being as a body-mind-soul unit. All proceeds of the book purchases go to Elle directly, who unfortunately has been persecuted and persistently harassed by the control structure that currently is in place, limiting human capacities and sabotaging human health, as he has gone through his life doing the necessary research and implementing the necessary practices to produce and provide this material for us and the restoration and healing of humanity. If you have found benefit for yourself or anyone else in this presentation, please do share with at least one person, and everybody who receives this is tasked to share again with at least one other person. Doing so, this material will be able to spread around in a healthy manner and assist again in the restoration of real human greatness. The foundation of who and what we are collectively, for us to thus again produce this reality upon the earth. This has been episode 3 of the Temple of Ra podcast, restoring the human body-mind from all disorders and diseases. Thank you for tuning in. May these works greatly benefit your lives.